Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and hi to everybody. My name is Sheikh Sazlin Shah bin Sabri. I'm a PhD in Built Environment, Department of Landscape Architecture, Kuliah of Architecture and Environmental Design, International Islamic University, Malaysia. Today I would like to present my paper titled Emergency Response Team ERT as an Emergency Management for Campus Environment. The emergency and disaster, both natural human cause, has significantly impacted property, environment, and human life. This event need an emergency preparedness and response plan to respond immediately. According to Ranchler, EPRP are essential for the organization and management, especially in higher education sector, to ensure the safety, health, property damage, and environmental protection. EPRP prepares for emergency to ensure the employees understand and participate in safety management system. It covers the various emergency, including fires, flood, and explosion. It also covers the manufacturing emergency like hazardous material, incident, and toxic gas release. Immediate action is crucial to prevent escalation in unpredictable emergency. So the management determines employee understanding and participation. So to address this situation, the organization must establish an emergency response team as stipulated by the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994. So in the section of 13 of the Act mandates that organization with more than 40 employees must establish a safety committee. So Aziz in his paper state that this safety committee is synonymous with the ERT in handling and facing the emergency. Okay, this slide for the emergency incident happened in the campus in HAI. The first picture is a fire emergency accident at the University of Malaya in 27 of August 2019. And then the second picture is the fire accident of the hostel in University Utara Malaysia, Sintok, in 20 July 2021. And the flood in IUN happened in 2014 and 2017. So we go to the next slide of literature review. Okay, we go first the definition of EPRP. According to Ranchler, EPRP defined as a preparedness activity developing before and after an emergency, crisis, and disaster. It is planned and training employees to face the natural disaster or manufactured disaster. While UFAN defined the emergency preparedness as a continuous cycle of planning, organizing, training, occupying, exercising, evaluating, and taking corrective action to ensure the effective coordination during the incident response. And Selwood and Wepling define the EPRP as a system and a process unique for preparing event affected by the emergency to the responder and effective running of organization. The challenge in EPRP is unpredictability of emergency situation. It is difficult to know exactly when an emergency will occur, how severe it will be, what resources will be needed to respond effectively. So the primary objective of EPRP is to establish a structured process for the rapid identification, notification, assembly, readiness, recovery, and deployment of responsible personnel, building owner, and occupant in affected area. So the effectiveness of emergency preparedness response reflect the organization values aligned with the compliance with the OS policy, regulation, and standard operating procedure. So EPRP is a formal document that identifies potential emergency scenarios on the premises and surrounding area and outline the standard and procedure to minimize the impact and losses in the emergency. Emergency incident can be caused by various factors, including natural emergency, man-made emergencies, as well as failure of emergency technology. This is quoted by the Rentschler and Kowalski. So according to Rentschler and Kowalski and also Ford, comprehensive and coordinate communication in disseminating information about the EPRP process is required to maintain the sustainability of the campus environment. In the EPRP, activities and action regarding emergencies specifically include developing an emergency evacuation plan and providing emergency information to employees as outlined in the emergency response role of employees. Therefore, a critical aspect of this paper is the development of the emergency response team (ERT), which serve as the primary response guideline for coordinating communication with individual during the. So we go for the slide of the emergency response team. Emergency response team (ERT) is a detailed contingency team essential for preventing critical incident while dealing with the various incidents. So the ERT consists of the internally trained members tasked with handling emergency that may occur within the organization. So the ERT members possess the knowledge and skill to ensure the safe evacuation of individual, the shutdown of the utility building services, and then the protection of the organizational property. So the ERT take immediate action while awaiting assistance from the relevant authority to manage the emergency, according to Azuddin. So we go to the literature review of the ERT. So the definition of ERT according to Azuddin, the ERT serves as the primary response team during emergency while awaiting assistance from relevant authority to manage the specific emergency. So ERT is an in-house team established to handle the potential or occurring emergency on its premises, according to Shah. So this specialized team is responsible for ensuring the safe evacuation of personnel, shutting down building services and utilities. So the collaborating with responding civil authorities, safeguarding and salvaging property, and assessing safety priority in the affected. So we go for the next slide of the finding and interpretation. Okay, in this finding and interpretation, there are 4 papers highlighted here that I will present more according to the finding and interpretation. First, the paper of environmental impact assessment for proposed Pengerang Energy Complex 2019. The second one, the effectiveness of intervention training program on fire emergency response team knowledge and skill in selected vehicle service center. And the third, emergency preparedness amongst emergency response team in managing accident at the workplace involving hazardous material reverse the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994. And then the last paper is conceptual framework for risk communication between emergency response team and management team at healthcare facilities. Okay, we go for the slide for the environmental impact assessment for proposed Pengerang Energy Complex. In the paper of environmental impact assessment, the ERT is defined as a team assigned by the facility management to address any potential emergency that may occur during plant operation. The ERT primary responsibility is to assist at the site of accident or emergency with the specific role and responsibilities outlined to ensure the availability of a system. The ability of system capable of summoning and directing emergency service and personnel. The paper aims to minimize risk to individual on site, the local community, the environment, and asset in case of an emergency. Okay, we go like Sharif defined the emergency response team as the first responder to ensure the safety of the occupant while waiting for assistance from the fire department bomber. So the importance of ERT training and response plan emphasize the significance of ERT training and response plan as they enable organization to respond promptly in any emergency. So it also mentioned that many firms are still unprepared. So the ERT needs to be enhanced for better preparation. So the paper highlight the role of ERT in emergency response, the importance of timely response, the distinction between in-house and external response team, and ongoing effort to enhance ERT training and preparedness. So in the paper of Bahari, Bahari state that ERT is the first responder in emergency while waiting for assistance from the relevant authority, such as the fire and rescue department, to deal with the crisis. So the ERT was established and trained to meet the internal need of the business entity. To meet the performance of the ERT, the business organization carry out training from time to time on their premises on emergency drill internally. So ERT has to work closely with the other relevant government agency such as the fire and rescue department. So hence the paper highlight the ERT role in managing workplace accident involving hazardous material with the cooperation of government agencies such as the fire and rescue department, police, RELA and civil defense department and the Red Crescent Society. While Aziz mentioned that section 15/2 of the Occupational Safety and Health Act state that an employer should provide information, instruction, training and supervision to the employee regarding the safety and health at the workplace. So the safety committee in this section refer to the emergency response team. So the emergency response team is the first responder responding to the disaster or emergency incident. ERT can effectively perform their task if they receive adequate risk information. The process of information delivery is known as risk communication, which is defined as an act of exchange of information about risk between an interested party. So the risk communication aim to raise awareness, encourage protective behavior, build up knowledge of risk and improve the relationship. So the ERT is involved in two phases, that is preparedness phases and response phases. During the preparedness phases, the management team must provide the ERT with the knowledge of risk and any safety procedure. While at the response phases, the ERT will respond to the disaster by mitigating fire, assisting evacuation, reporting the incident to the other responsible party, and performing search and rescue. So this is my last slide. That is the slide of the conclusion. ERT in the workplace is the first responder who face an emergency while waiting for assistance from lead agency. So, the tasks of ERT in emergencies are to ensure disaster areas are secure and provide assistance to ensure the emergency area are secure and provide assistance to contain the emergency area taken care of. So the finding revealed that an ERT for the campus sustainability played a crucial role in ensuring the environmental well-being and resilience of a university or college campus by specialized team address, and it will mitigate the sustainability related emergency. So the primary goal to safeguard the campus sustainable infrastructure to promote eco-friendly practices and coordinate emergency preparedness by training and drill as effort to minimize the damage and maintain a commitment of ERT for the long-term sustainability goal. So this is the references that I refer for this paper, and this is also the references. That's all for the presentation. Thank you and salam.